This is a short video created by Compass Go to help parents and carers support their children in emotional regulation. Compass Go are a mental health support team working in all of the schools and colleges in North East Lincolnshire to provide support for mental health and wellbeing difficulties for children and young people aged 5 to 19 years old and their families. We provide low-intensity cognitive behavioural therapy interventions through assemblies, workshops, group support known as pods, one-to-one sessions and Silver Cloud for children and young people aged 14 years and above. Self-regulation is when children are able to regulate their emotions, thoughts and behaviours independently to be able to manage these in a positive way. Self-regulation is not something that children are born able to do, and it's not something that they can learn by themselves. Self-regulation can be learned through co-regulation. This is where adults work with children to support them in finding ways to manage their big emotions, getting them back to a calm state. Co-regulation requires positive reinforcement and consistent support to help the child to recognise their emotions and find ways to manage them positively. This is something that you probably already do, and you may not even realise that you're doing it. As an adult, you are most likely quite familiar with a range of human emotions and will have developed a range of strategies to manage these. For most emotions, you have previous experience which you can draw upon to help you to cope. Your child is at the beginning of this journey and does not have those previous experiences to guide and reassure them. This can mean that new emotions feel big, scary, and overwhelming. Think of the first time that you experienced grief or heartbreak as an adult. Even though you have good self-regulation skills, those feelings were probably very overwhelming and difficult to manage. For our children, some common emotions can feel as big and scary as those once did to us. Your job as the adult is to ride the emotional roller coaster with your child. You can do this by helping them to understand what emotions are and what they feel like for them, and then begin to develop some strategies with them to help them manage those feelings. We're going to share some top tips to help you support your child to develop their emotional regulation skills. Tip 1 is to be a role model. We all know that children copy what they see. You can set a good example of emotional regulation by naming your own emotions out loud. You can do this by saying things such as, "Oh, I feel really grumpy today. I don't think I've had enough sleep. I might get an early night tonight to help me feel better." It can also be helpful to be mindful of how you display and manage your emotions. That's not to say you should hide difficult emotions such as anger, frustration, or sadness from your child. These are all important emotions. You can help your child to recognize you dealing with these by saying things such as, "I feel all tight because I'm stressed. I'm going to go and sit outside to help me relax." Or, "I'm feeling really cross, so I'm going to take some deep breaths to help me calm down." This shows your child that it's okay to feel those emotions, but also gives them a coping strategy to attach to them. By labeling your own emotions out loud, you can help your child to recognize these and start to see them in themselves. Tip 2 is name it to tame it. By naming the emotions that you notice in your child, you can help them to start to recognize these. When they recognize their emotions, they become instantly less scary and overwhelming. You can do this by saying things such as, "I noticed that you've gone a bit red in the face and your fists are all clenched up. I wonder if you're feeling a bit angry because you didn't get to do that thing that you wanted to do." Try to use as many different emotion names as you think your child can manage, rather than sticking to a simple few. The more words your child has to name their feelings, the easier it will become to express them in a positive way. Tip 3 is to allow space for all emotions, even the tricky ones. As adults, we often want to take away those big emotions from our children to protect them from feeling bad. However, when we brush off their feelings by saying things such as, "Don't cry" or "Don't be sad," this can lead to them not feeling heard or feeling confused, and it often doesn't help the situation. How many times have you calmed down when someone has said to you, "Calm down"? Often it does the opposite. Remember, children can sometimes present with really big emotions over what we may see to be a really small problem, but it's still super important to validate their emotions. You can do this by saying things such as, I know you're disappointed. It felt really tough to lose that game, didn't it? Or I know you're really frustrated because you wanted to go to the park today and we didn't have time. You can then check in with your child and ask them how they would like you to help them manage that feeling. You can ask them, would you like a cuddle? Or shall we do some deep breathing together? There are also some tips at the end of this video. Tip 4 is to take some time for you. Supporting your child on their own emotional roller coaster really tests your limits and boundaries. If you notice yourself starting to become overwhelmed or losing control of your own emotions, give yourself some time to pause before you react. Take a big, deep breath and reset. Your child is much more likely to respond to you when you are calm as well. As you can see on the infographic, we need a regulated adult to make a regulated child. A dysregulated adult will always lead to a dysregulated child. After supporting your child to manage their emotions, make sure you take some time to recover. Perhaps you could call a friend or have a cup of tea, maybe listen to some upbeat music. In the evening, when your child has gone to bed, take some time to read a book or watch your favourite film. Anything that will help you reset ready for the next day. Tip number 5 is be patient. Learning to self-regulate takes time, consistency and patience. It will not happen overnight. Try to keep your expectations realistic. A child cannot regulate their emotions if they don't have the skills to do it. It's important to accept that there will be some challenges and setbacks along the way. Even as adults, we don't always regulate our emotions in the best way. So allow your child to make these mistakes and support them in doing better next time. It's important to note that even if your child is older, it can still take time to learn to regulate their emotions independently. Consistency and empathy is key. Here are some simple ways that you can co-regulate with your child. The first is to offer deep pressure, such as a hug or a cuddle if your child would like that. The second is to lower your voice. We all know that when somebody raises their voice to us, we instinctively raise ours to match. Lower yours and hopefully your child will lower theirs to match you. Getting up and moving together, whether this be moving around, dancing in the kitchen, doing some star jumps, or going for a walk, movement can be a really good way to regulate emotions, and getting outside in general is a really good way to ground us. The fresh air can really help to cool us down physically and metaphorically. Lowering your body position can help your child feel reassured and heard, and this can feel less intense for your child than you standing over them. A sensory activity can also be a really good way to help your child regulate their emotions and can be really calming. This could be Play-Doh, painting, water play, baking, beads or sand. Anything that you've got really. Finally, doing some heavy lifting together is a really good way to ground us and use up that extra energy that we get when our emotions take over. This could be helping you to move things around the room or lifting the wash basket and helping you do some laundry. One of the tools that you can use to help your child to regulate their emotions is a self-soothe box. This is a really simple idea, but they're often really effective. Find items in your home which your child already likes or finds soothing or calming and add them to an old shoebox or storage basket. The child can decorate the storage basket or shoebox if they wish, and each time you notice that they're feeling overwhelmed, you can direct them to their box so that they can find something to help them relax and calm themselves. Further strategies can be found on our YouTube channel. Our channel is Compass Go MHST. Here are some recommendations for stories that you can read with your child. Children sometimes find it easier to talk about the emotions and behaviours of others than they do their own. A good tip is to search on YouTube, as most of these stories are read aloud on there before you decide to make a purchase. These websites have some really good resources both for young people and their parents. The video is a really good explanation of why we lose control of our emotions and things that you can do to help your child to manage these. As we said earlier, helping your child to manage their emotions can take a toll on you. Here are some resources to help you manage your own mental health. Thank you for watching. For more support, please check out our other parent videos which are available on our YouTube channel. There you'll also find some breathing techniques and other coping strategies for you to use with your child. Our channel is Compass Go MHST.